Put your loving hand out, baby. I'm begging.
Hi, fans of high-quality entertainment. I am honored for John Halsey to be talking to me. He is, of course, quite the career. He started in the 60s with a band called Timebox, and then Patto in the early 70s. I love those 3 Patto albums. They're excellent. And we'll talk a bit about that. And the main thing is, at least for me, is you were the drummer in the great band, the Rutles.
Yes,
I don't know if you realize that or not.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. And you also have a new album coming out. It's called Songs of the Donkey Shed. It's coming out September 1st.
It's the only album, Larry. It's not.
It's the only album. Yeah.
It's the only album. I doubt there'll be a follow-up either.
And I did see the video Out of Town. Is that going to be on the album?
That's on the album, yes.
Yeah. And what I love about that is I seriously, at the end of the video, I'm not going to say what happens at the end of the video, I laughed out loud. And I usually don't laugh out loud unless it's something I say.
My wife laughed out loud. She was the one who flicked the yogurt.
Don't give it away.
All right, okay.
So I'd like to start and ask you about, when you were younger, like when did you first, come across music, and what were your early influences?
Well, I first came across music one Boxing Day when a friend of mine who lived in the same street turned up with a Roy Orbison record that I think was Only the Lonely. Mm-hmm. And I thought, this is really good. Because before that, I'd been listening to things that my parents used to listen to on the radio. And there was brass bands, and there was theme tunes to radio shows, mainly comedy shows. My dad used to love comedy shows.
Yeah.
So there was like Raise a Laugh and Educating Archie, all these different English radio shows.
Yeah.
And I sort of knew all the songs there. And then there was Uncle Mac on Saturday morning, who was, when I was very young, not even 10, he was on playing children's requests. And and then suddenly, as time went on, I teamed up with a couple of friends from school, Ray Whedon and Ray McDonald, both Rays. And I was going to be the bass player, but I didn't have any money. I was only about 13.
Yeah.
And we were going to form a group. Ray Whedon got a snare drum. His mum and dad bought him a snare drum. And Ray McDonald, whose parents had a little bit more money, bought him a guitar and an amplifier. He became reasonably proficient, and Ray Whedon became reasonably proficient as a drummer as well. But all I had was the catalogues that, that contained the basses that I yearned for, like Hoffman catalogues and Futurama and a Gibson catalogue. I never actually had a bass.
Yeah.
And one day my mum said she'd seen some drums advertised for sale and she had some money and would I like them? So I had them. Yeah. So I started playing the drums.
So were you pretty interested in playing the drums?
Yes.
Or were you more into the guitar at the time, or?
No, not at all. No,
Yeah.
I didn't really mind what I played. I just wanted to be part
Yeah.
of making music in some form or another.
Yeah.
And the drum kit was fine. Now I had a friend at school, Peter Rettig, who played drums, and he was in a band called the Black Diamonds, and they were a pretty good little group. This is a long, long time ago,
Yeah.
Larry.
Yeah.
I didn't start at that school till, my goodness, I'm not even going to say, I can't remember. It's about 1960 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a big influence on me, Peter Rettig. And then he had a brother called Roger Rettig, who was a guitarist. He was older than Peter and I. And he played with some quite famous people of the time, like Eden Kane and people like that. And anyway, time jogged along. And then one day somebody said, "Hey, listen to this album." And he lent me somebody, I can't remember who it was. I don't even remember giving the album back. I might still have it in my collection. But he's probably got some of mine as well.
Yeah.
And he played me an album, he lent me an album that was called Ray Charles in Person. And when I heard that, it was like a light bulb moment. I thought, this is the most amazing thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And I still listen to it today. Yeah. I think, wow, that's just great. It was recorded on a single microphone, I think in Atlanta, in front of a live audience. He had a band. The sound's a little bit weird on it, but it's just, it was a light bulb moment for me. I thought, wow, that is just amazing.
Yeah. And so when did you first hear what's known as rock music today? Like,
rock
would it
music.
Be Elvis or before?
No, I sort of grew, I really liked, and I still do, Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah.
That was my first rock music.
Yeah.
And number one. And Gene Vincent, I really liked Gene Vincent. I loved this band he had. They were obviously very, very proficient band. Jerry Lee's band was always very rough around the edges and didn't worry about tunes getting faster and drum fills speeding up and things like that. Yeah. And he was great. I saw him many times over here.
Wow.
We saw him, I think, about 10 years ago. Elaine, my wife, and I went to New Orleans Jazz Fest a few times. Yeah. Went about 4 or 5 times. And he was on one year. And I listened to him and I thought, oh, he's still got it. He was just great.
Yeah. Wow. And so when was the first time you heard the Beatles?
The Beatles, my sister sent me a press cutting. My sister lives about 120 miles north of where I lived at that time in London. Yeah. And she sent me a press cutting saying, "Have you heard this group, the Beatles?" And so I thought, well, I hadn't, but it wasn't long before I did hear the Beatles. Yeah. And suddenly they were everywhere, all over the place, just everywhere. Yeah. And people were going crazy over the Beatles. And the media caught onto it. And you couldn't go anywhere without influence of the Beatles. But by that time, there were groups playing everywhere, every pub, every bar. It seemed like every street corner, every club had one, every school had one. There were groups playing everywhere. Yeah. And I was in a group then called Barry Reed and the Avengers, because there was a big thing in Britain about playing in a group that was named after a car, and an Avenger was a car, Hillman Avenger. And the Crestas and the Zephyrs, all named after cars. Yeah. Thunderbirds, you know.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. There was no in sevens, though.
Yeah. So when Timebox started, and that was Mike Patto was the singer right from the beginning of the band?
No, Mike Patto came from Norfolk, which is quite a way outside London. And in those days, it seemed a damn sight more outside London. You had to go through towns to get from where he lived in Hingham in Norfolk to London. Now you just go on motorways, but it was he was a long way out. And no, the band came down from Southport, which is north of Liverpool, and they were called Timebox.
Yeah.
And that was Ollie and Clive, the bass player. And then there was a guitarist called Kevin Fogarty and a singer and a drummer called Jeff Dean. And they came down to London really to seek their fortune.
Yeah.
And they didn't find it.
Yeah. But Ollie Hals, how do you say his last name?
Ollie Halsey.
He was such a great guitarist. If anybody out there loves great guitar work, just great rock music, the 3 Patto albums from the early 70s with John on the drums, and great vocals too. But Ollie was just, and he of course was part of the Rutles recordings.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about him.
Well, I was in a band. Now this is complicated, Larry. Listen, it's called it was called Felder's Orioles.
Okay.
Felder's Orioles was a soul band.
Yeah.
And from this sort of influence of Ray Charles, and I found that there were bands playing at a club in London called the Flamingo Club, like Georgie Fame and the Blue Flames, and Zoot Money Big Roll Band, Ronnie Jones, the Night Timers. They were all doing that sort of music. And Felder's Orioles, I joined with a guitarist friend of mine, Paul Hodson, became that sort of band. And we released 4 records as singles. And we had 2 sax players and a guitar, bass, drums, a Hammond organist who sung. That was Barry Hugh-Band. And we released 4 records. And then eventually, when we all decided to pack our jobs in and turn pro and to rely on playing just for a living, the band didn't last very much, just a couple of months.
Yeah.
We all went our separate ways. So I advertised to join a group, drummer wanted group, in a publication called The Melody Maker that was like the Bible, the weekly Bible for musicians. And Laurie J, another drummer who was managing Timebox, he phoned me up, and I knew of his name because when I saw Joe Lee Lewis, he was in the band. The Laurie J combo was backing Jerry Lee.
Yeah.
So I knew his name. And Laurie J was a very good drummer. He was in the Shadows for a while, even before Brian Bennett. Anyway, time went on, and he phoned me up and said, would I go down to the Scottish St. James in London for an audition? Because this group Timebox were looking for a drummer. Yeah. So I went down there and played the audition, as always, very, very nervous about no auditioning or anything like that. I always am. And he phoned me up the next day and said, right, they're going to come and pick you up. They're playing a gig tonight, and they'll come and pick you up with the drums, and they want you to do the gig, which wasn't quite true. They didn't think I was a terribly good drummer, but we did the first set at this gig that we did, which was at an American air base called Bentwaters in East Anglia, up where Mike came from. And I got a slap on the back and told, well done. Why didn't I play like that the night before? I was too nervous.
Yeah.
And that was it. I was in the band. At that time, Ollie was the vibes player. Ollie played vibraphone. He didn't play guitar.
Yeah.
He was 16 years old and came down to London with Timebox. The drummer, Jeff Dean, got ill and contracted TB and went back to Southport. I think, and then time went on, and Ollie said, look, if Kevin goes and you buy me a guitar, I'll learn how to play it.
Wow. So
he started playing, and within a very short period of time, he had to get it together because we had gigs. I mean, we used to work 7 nights a week. So he had to get it together. And it was his idea to sack Kevin, really.
Yeah.
And he went, and it wasn't very long, within a year or so, within 6 months, he was pretty impressive guitar player. And then within a year or 2 years, every time we played a gig, the place would be full of guitarists.
Yeah.
He was an awesome player. And in fact, I can honestly say he's the only genius I've ever worked with. I think he was autistic in many ways. I think that. But he was the only person I would brand as a genius. I worked with a lot of great players, a lot of great singers, composers, and everything. But he's the only one I said this to Steve James, the Rutles record producer, who is, of course, son of Sidney James, the cartoon actor.
Yeah.
I saw him when we did a tribute to Neil concert in London last November. And he said, I agree with you. He said, I've worked with many, many people, as a record producer and record engineer. That's what he does for a living all his life. And he said he's the only genius I've ever worked with. Wow. He really was.
Yeah. And he's not in the movie, like all you need is the movie here. All you need is cash. I think he plays a small part, right, Ollie?
Yes, we did some stills.
Yeah.
Just some still photographs that were meant to be of the Hamburg days.
Yeah. When
the Beatles were in fact a five police, and police got police on the mind. They're banging on the door all day. When the Beatles were a five piece, they had Stuart Sutcliffe in the band.
Yeah.
And Ollie played the fifth Beatle, just in the still photographs.
Yeah.
But in the studio,
he played quite a bit on this, right? And he did some of the vocals. I never realized that he sings like the Paul kind of songs.
Yeah, he sings all the songs that
Paul would have done.
Played by Eric.
Yeah.
Would have sung.
Yeah.
He what we used to call mimed, but now they call it lip synced.
Yeah.
Synchronization of your lip movements with the verse. It's a bit of a silly title, really.
Yeah.
And Eric mimed Ollie's vocals.
Yeah.
And very often Ollie's vocals were recorded at a slower speed, so that when it was played back at normal speed, Ollie's voice would go higher. More reminiscent of Paul's vocals.
Yeah. And so anyway, here's the Rutles, and there is the great Barry Wham. And it is, I know that when it was first shown on television, I think it was the lowest rated TV show ever, right?
No, it was the lowest rated prime TV show. Yeah.
But at least it's, you got some kind of award for it, right?
We did.
but it's just I think the Rutles have just grown in stature over the years. And when the first, this is like a compilation of more of it. But when that first album came out, a lot of us are such big Beatles fans, and Neil and the rest of you couldn't have done any better with what you guys did. Like the songs on their own are just great,
They are.
Yeah.
They are really good. You think the whole thing was recorded, the overdubs, the brass parts, all the vocals, and the mixing was all done in 3 weeks, and that's very, very fast for an album.
Yeah.
And we recorded more songs than we actually used, and it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of work. Yeah. So we did that, and Ollie played guitar on it, and some of the things he plays guitar on are just astounding.
Yeah.
Plus, of course, we had the blessing of George Harrison, who was in the studio a lot with us, and
that's cool. Yeah.
And it was happy days. Really, it was really good.
So at least George Harrison had a sense of humor, right?
Yeah, George had the attitude it was all part of the same soup. That's what he said once. It's all part of the same soup.
Yeah.
And he loved it. He said the Beatles have been put up on a pedestal and they're up there to get knocked down.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Did you ever meet any of the other Beatles at any point?
I've never met Ringo. I have done some recording around his house, but I never met him. He wasn't there. I actually played his drum kit and did some recording.
Wow.
I've never met John. I know John. We met somebody who said that they met John, and they said to John, "What do you think of the Rutles?" And he sang part of Cheese and Onions to them. So he obviously Paul, I don't know Paul's reaction.
Yeah.
But I know that I think he had an album, I think it was called On Broadway or something. And that was released at the same time as the Rutles album.
Yeah. Give my regards to Broad Street.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the Rutles stole all the thunder. The Rutles stole all the thunder, and I know
for the Rutles.
that Neil felt very guilty about that.
Yeah,
because he had a long association with Paul, who produced the one and only hit for the Bonzos. That Neil wrote, Urban Spaceman.
Yeah, the Bonzos are great too. I've got their early albums. So you knew. I guess like the Monty Python guys too. Some of them, did you? Besides Eric Idle, or
no, I didn't really know Eric Idle. I was introduced to Eric Idle via Neil, and sort of played some sort of audition with Ollie, and we got in the studio and played some Beatles songs, and we played some Rutles songs, and I got the gig, but Ollie didn't get the gig. The production company in New York, Broadway Video, thought that Eric should play a bigger role in the film.
Yeah,
obviously they couldn't sell the film on the strength of Ollie Halsey or John Halsey's name. They needed Eric Idle to play more of a role in it.
Yeah,
but I did meet Paul. In the most incredible circumstances. There was a friend of mine, John McDade, and myself it must have been early in the winter here, early 64. And all this Beatlemania was going on. It was absolutely crazy, going on everywhere. And we were teenagers, and we decided one Sunday afternoon we were bored out of our heads, and we got a tube train into the middle of London, just walked about. It's a good place to be and walk around through Theatreland and the West End and all that. And we were just walking around, and we decided to go into Wimpy Bar. I don't know if you know what Wimpy Bars are.
No.
They're like McDonald's, but they were English McDonald's. Yep. And it was waitress service, and we went in there. There was a little bit of a queue, and we got shown to a table for 4. There was just the 2 of us. And the waitress come up and said, "What would you like?" And we ordered our frothy coffee and a glass cup and saucer. And we ordered a Wimpy, which is like a McDonald's, and some chips with fries. And we were sitting there waiting for hours, and suddenly there was a bit of a fuss going on around the door. And when we looked over to the door, there was Paul McCartney trying to get in. And he did get in. They showed him through. He beat the queue and got to the front of the queue because of who he was.
Yeah.
And they said, obviously said to him, it's waitress service only. He said, I'll sit over there. And he pointed to our table. And Paul came and sat with us.
Oh, cool.
And the Beatles were doing some filming somewhere. And he had on his Beatle outfit, with the round collar jacket.
Yeah.
And he sat with us, and he had his frothy coffee and a glass cup and saucer and a burger, but it was way before he was vegetarian.
Yeah.
And some chips. And we spent about 20 minutes talking to Paul.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing, absolutely amazing. Yeah. Anyway, he called for his bill, and he said, "Oh, put the boys' bill on my tab," and he paid for our
very nice. Yeah,
our lunch.
Yeah,
and off he went.
Yeah,
and we were absolutely gobsmacked. We met a Beatle.
Yeah, that's very
cool. Then the people in the Wimpy Bar were all looking at us thinking, well, who are they?
That's cool. And you have another great story to tell about this particular album. I am a huge fan of Lou Reed.
Yeah.
And I actually didn't know that you played the drums on this album until kind of recently.
Yeah.
And I know that I've seen the video on your and I'll have a link for everything below this video. So I hope people subscribe to your YouTube channel. I know there's a video where you were saying you weren't totally happy with the drumming, like you were drumming on
I was
this.
very nervous.
Yeah. Well, it's only David Bowie producing.
Yeah, and Klaus Voormann on bass.
Wow, yeah.
And, David Bowie producing. He was up in the control room with Angie Bowie, both dressed like rainbows, sparkling rainbows. And, Klaus Voormann, who was a miserable-looking person. I don't think he liked me very much. And I was very, very nervous. I'd never done a session for anybody before.
Yeah.
I'd only done a session with my own band, Patto.
Yeah.
And, that was all I'd done, really. And the album was being produced by, now his name eludes me, the guitarist who worked with David for years.
Mick Ronson?
Nick, yeah. I'd met Nick a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go out and do a session, there are people who book you because you're a drummer, and there are people who book you because of the way that you play.
Mm-hmm.
And Mick Ronson wanted me to do the album because he liked the way that I played. And when I got there, I wasn't really, in David's eyes, the sort of person who was just given free rein to play the way he played. He wanted a certain style of drumming on these tracks, and that's what I had to do.
Yeah.
Plus, the nerves did not help.
Yeah.
We did I think I did about 5 or 6 tracks on that album. Mm-hmm. We did them in 2 sessions, which is very quick for an album track. We did them in 2 sessions. I got £36 for that.
Yeah.
And then I was out on the street with my drums.
Yeah. Did you meet Lou Reed at all? Like talk to him at all?
No.
Not that you want to.
No. He was rather elusive. He was in the corner of the studio.
Yeah.
And he had screens around him. And I don't recall him ever coming to any of the playbacks. When we did a take, you go up in the control room and you hear what the producers want by talking them through the track, and you go out and do it again, and then they keep correcting. I don't remember him coming up and joining in any of the chat. He just went along with what was going on down in his corner of the studio with dark clothing on and dark glasses on. And I don't recall ever meeting him, but he was there. He was singing.
Yeah. And anyway, I think your drumming is fine on this album. It's a great album. And, you can think what you want about your drumming, but it's really good on this album. At least I think so. Not that I'm a drummer.
Thank you, Larry. They spelt my name wrong.
Is that right? Yeah.
They spelt my name with a Z. Halsey.
That's funny.
Yeah, they spelled my name wrong. And when it went from vinyl onto cassette tape, and then when it went from cassette tape onto CD, I thought they might have corrected it somewhere down the line, but they never did. It's still with a Z on everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I also thought they might pay me some more money, but they never did.
Yeah.
36, it must have sold millions.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling it sold millions. I mean, it's 1972.
Yeah.
53 years old.
Yeah. And speaking of producers, your producer for Patto was Muff Winwood, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know the band Sparks.
What did you say? Who?
Sparks? Ron and Russell Mael. This
No.
Town Ain't Big Enough for Both of Us.
Oh yeah, Sparks.
Yeah, they're still. I'm going
Also
to be seeing
do,
them in concert in September.
Yes, with
They've been
Hitler on. With
going
Hitler
around for over
piano.
50 years. But anyway, Muff was the producer of, This Town Ain't Big Enough for Both of Us and all that. So what was Muff like to work with? He must have been pretty good to work with.
Yeah, Muff was straight down the line.
Yeah.
Come on, don't muck about. Get on with it. Get on with it. Get on with it. Studio time was expensive, and everything had to be done quick. So we had to go in really ready. We rehearse, which is what we were all the time. And Muff was easy to work with. He went along. He didn't really know what was going on. He was in the Spencer Davis group. His brother Steve Winwood.
Yep.
I was very friendly and still am with Pete York, the drummer from the Spencer Davis group. Still hear regularly from Pete York. He now lives in Germany and still plays. He still plays jazz, and a very technical drummer.
Yeah.
Very technical sort of jazz drummer he does mainly.
Yeah.
But Muff was a nice guy, yeah.
Yeah. And let's talk just for a bit about Neil Innes. Like he was, I think he was close to a musical genius for what he did. Right.
Well, he's certainly very clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he certainly is. Yeah. He mind you, the Rutles songs took him a long time. He kept having breaks in writing them because he was doing other things to earn a living, because he was doing that.
Yeah.
He was doing that for about a year. And I think he wrote about 20 Rutles songs.
Yeah.
And about 16 were recorded. Others fell by the wayside. And he did all that without listening to any Beatles albums. He did it all. He sort of took from his memory bullet points that were the main points that he remembered from the Beatles career, and he wrote all those songs. Quite amazing.
Yeah.
Some songs weren't even parody of Beatles songs. They were just
just great pop songs.
Yeah, he used to say, record them Liverpudlian.
Yeah, yeah.
And Ollie tried to play guitar a bit like George on some of them, and other things he was just given a free rein.
Yeah. So did George Harrison say anything about the Rutles songs? Like have a laugh over any of them, or?
Yeah, George was very involved. He absolutely loved them. He thought that some things were a bit too close to the Beatles to avoid copyright problem.
Yeah.
Get Up and Go, which is a Beatles song, which is meant to be Get Back, a parody on Get Back.
Yeah.
He thought that was very close, a bit too close for comfort. And he took it away and played it to John. And John said, yes, it's much too close for comfort. And between them, they decided it shouldn't really be done. So Neil changed it. And George played it to John again. And then they decided it was far enough away to avoid any copyright problems.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Just one more question. So what bands, from the 60s, 70s, or artists were your favorites, like later on, like the late 60s, early 70s? Were you into any?
Yes, it was the time of progressive music, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought progressive music was a step in the right direction. We labeled ourselves a progressive band.
Yeah.
And we were into weird time signatures and more jazzy playing. A lot of progressive bands were into more rock playing. We weren't. We were into more jazz playing, which didn't exactly earn us any money. Went all over the world in the back of a van.
Yeah.
Patto were together for 6 years, but we never really had. I think we're influenced by whoever we saw or worked with. I think Patto was very influenced by, in the latter days, Randy Newman. He absolutely loved Randy Newman.
Yeah, I love Randy Newman too.
Yeah, everybody does, I hope. Ollie was not influenced by anybody, really. He didn't have a record collection. He liked Cecil Taylor. the jazz pianist.
Yeah.
And he liked various people, but he used to refuse to listen to anybody really because he said you end up playing their licks.
Yeah.
Which is the sign of autism.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's what made him such a great guitarist, right? He was so original and unique.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
We tried to put a band together back in the roundabout when Ollie had gone completely off the bloody rails and ended up working with Gary Glitter and people like that, and then living with a girl in a house because his wife and children left him. And he was living in a house. He didn't have a guitar. He didn't have an amp. They couldn't pay the bills. They couldn't pay the mortgage, the rates, the electricity bill, the phone bill, nothing. They were living in this house.
Yeah.
Ollie at that time, what would it have been? 1980. He was about 30, I suppose. And the girl he was living with was 14, which of course is against the law.
Yeah.
And it was all a big mishmash. It was just a terrible scene, really.
Yeah.
Then he went off to Sweden with a guy he used to know, borrowed a guitar. We did some sessions with Viv Stanshall as well. And he had to borrow a guitar for that. He couldn't drive, never learned to drive.
Wow.
He lived about 30 miles outside London. So every time we did anything, I had to go and pick him up and drop him off again. And he was. I could write a book about Ollie. He was so oddball and so off the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, influences. Yeah, I used to like in those days probably not many people actually. we were very, very into our own thing.
Yeah. So when you mentioned like Prague, would it be like early Yes and King Crimson? Were you into them at all, or?
Yeah, I heard them. Yeah, I heard King Crimson. I heard Zappa.
Yeah,
and I heard different people, and this was progressive rock, you know. Yeah. And then I joined another band, and so it went on, and that band ended up working with Neil Innes. That band was called Fatso because we were all too heavy for our height. And I said to Neil, you know, I joined this band, Fatso. It's a really great band. I've known two of the guys since I was at school. And so he came along to a gig and did a couple of songs with us. And then we learned some of his songs. And we used to go out and do gigs as Neil Innes and Fatso. And that was great. Yeah, that was great. But then suddenly along came the Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
And progressive rock fell in a heap on the floor. Yeah, it was over and done with. And done with. It finished.
Yeah.
And all us older musicians, because I was in my probably late 30s by then, too old to join pop groups, too old to join groups. We were all sort of session players, the group Fatso, and we struggled to get studio. Drummers did in those days.
Yeah.
Drummers struggled to get studio work because the producers were doing the drum tracks at home with earphones on drum machines.
Yeah, yeah.
And bringing a drum track into the studio, plugging it in, and it was already done, you know, and then layer the other instruments on top. I mean, Phil Collins was using them.
Yeah.
He's a drummer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So, like I said, I'll have a link for your YouTube channel and for your website and your new album, Songs of the Donkey Shed.
Yeah.
Your debut album, your first and last.
My first and last, yeah.
Will be on September 1st. Yeah. So what are, just one more thing, what are some of the songs on it, like the titles?
We have Music, 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 that I think was a hit by Teresa Brewer. Nelly the Elephant. It's always been a favorite. That was a song from Mandy Miller in the 1950s.
Wow.
Yeah. What was it? What was the one we started off talking about? Out of Town.
Out of Town. That's a great song.
A hit for Max Bygraves. in the 1950s, way before the Beatles.
Yeah.
And the most amazing thing is, you look up Max Bygraves, how many hits he had. He had so many hits.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then there's one song by Ken, the guitar player, called Last Call. And a song by Phil, a Christmas song called Don't Knock the Pudding. It's all the song is sung by a man who lives in fear of the Christmas pudding being knocked. Lives in fear of the Christmas pudding being knocked onto the floor.
Well,
and him getting his annual share.
That's funny.
And there's other songs. There's Dean Martin's song. There's lots of songs on there.
Yeah, cool. Looking forward to it. And I'll have a link for your out of town video too, and below the video.
That's kind of you, Larry. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, you've done great. You've seriously done great work. You should be proud of everything you've done. Patto and the Rutles and Timebox and Lou Reed. Like, you've got quite the career. So thank you for taking your time to talk to me.
Well, thank you for asking me to.
You're welcome. Okay. See you later. And hope everybody checks out John's YouTube channel and his website. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Bye.